Stand at the entrance of a medieval city and try to look straight ahead. You cannot. The street bends sharply, then narrows, then curves again, as if the city itself refuses to reveal its heart. In places like Carcassonne or the old quarters of York, the layout feels almost chaotic. But what if that chaos was deliberate? What if the twisting alleys and sudden turns were not accidents of growth, but weapons carved in stone? Here is the mystery. While modern cities celebrate straight boulevards and open sightlines, medieval towns embrace confusion. They rejected the clean geometry of ancient planners and instead built labyrinths. To an invader on horseback, charging through a breached gate, these streets became traps. Visibility vanished, momentum died, coordination fractured. The city itself began to fight back. At first glance, it looks like poor planning. But beneath the cobblestones lies a different story, one of strategy, psychology, and survival. Because in the medieval world, even the street beneath your feet could be designed to disorient an enemy and buy precious seconds that meant the difference between conquest and resistance. Unlike the orderly grids of Roman settlements, medieval towns often evolved within defensive walls that had to adapt to terrain and threat. After the fall of centralized Roman authority, urban design shifted from imperial symmetry to localized survival. In fortified hubs like Rothenburg, Obdataube or Toledo, expansion happened organically but not carelessly. Walls enclosed limited space. Every building pressed close. Streets followed contours of hills, rivers, and pre-existing paths. Yet when raids and sieges became common during the Middle Ages, especially across regions of France and Italy, defenders recognized something powerful. Invading forces relied on formation. Cavalry needed straight runs. Infantry needed clear lines of sight. So urban layouts began to subtly resist these needs. Gates rarely aligned with central squares. Instead, an entry might open into a sharp bend or a narrowing corridor. Over generations, this pattern hardened into defensive tradition. What seemed like disorder was often a memory of past invasions, encoded into brick and stone. The city learned from every breach and reshaped itself into a maze that favored those who knew its turns. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Imagine you are an armored knight, forcing your way through a broken gate. Your horse surges forward, but within seconds the street tightens. You cannot see more than a few meters ahead. That first bend is critical. Medieval planners understood momentum. A straight road allows acceleration. A curve demands hesitation. Step by step, the trap unfolds. The invading force enters in formation. The first turn disrupts alignment. The second turn hides defenders stationed above on overhanging timber houses. From windows and rooftops, stones, arrows, even boiling water descend. Because the street is narrow, shields overlap awkwardly. Horses panic. Communication breaks down as sound echoes unpredictably between stone walls. You know how easy it is to get disoriented in a maze. Multiply that by fear and noise. The genius was not brute strength. It was controlled confusion. The street became a funnel, compressing invaders into manageable pockets, while locals moved swiftly through hidden shortcuts and side alleys. Today, urban planners often prioritize efficiency, visibility, and speed. Yet the medieval street offers a counterintuitive lesson about resilience. In high-risk environments, slowing movement can be protective. Modern security design sometimes incorporates similar principles, using barriers and angled pathways to prevent vehicles from gaining speed near sensitive buildings. You might notice this in government districts or pedestrian zones where roads curve intentionally. The medieval mindset understood that design shapes behavior. Twisted streets reduced vulnerability by forcing outsiders to adapt while locals retained familiarity. Even beyond warfare, there is insight here about community. Narrow, winding lanes naturally slow traffic and encourage interaction. They create micro-neighborhoods where people recognize one another. In times of crisis, that familiarity matters. The lesson is subtle but powerful. Efficiency is not always the highest value. Sometimes safety lies in complexity. The medieval town reminds us that environments can be engineered not only for commerce or beauty, but for protection against threats both physical and psychological. So, the next time you wander through an old European quarter and lose your sense of direction, consider this possibility. The confusion you feel was once a shield. Those bends and bottlenecks were silent guardians, designed to fracture invading forces and give defenders an edge measured in moments. Medieval streets were twisted not because builders lacked skill, but because they understood human movement under stress. They turned geography into strategy. They transformed stone and timber into a living labyrinth that fought without drawing a sword. In our modern world of satellite maps and grid systems, it is easy to dismiss irregularity as primitive. But beneath those winding alleys lies a sophisticated understanding of psychology, momentum, and terrain. The city itself became a weapon, subtle yet effective. And perhaps that is the enduring message. The spaces we design shape the outcomes we face. If this changed the way you see medieval towns, keep exploring their hidden logic. History rarely hides its secrets. Sometimes it simply curves out of sight, waiting for you to turn the corner and notice. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned